You know that feeling when you wake from a truly beautiful dream? That moment when your eyes open to a gray ceiling, the alarm is screaming, and for just a second, you can still feel the world you were in vivid, coherent, alive in ways this one never quite is. And there's that ache, that pull, the almost physical urge to close your eyes and go back. What if you could stay? In 1927, a sickly, anxiety-ridden writer in Providence, Rhode Island, asked that exact question. H.P. Lovecraft, better known for his tales of cosmic horror, created a character named Randolph Carter, a dreamer who, after witnessing the horrors of World War I and the soul-crushing disappointments of ordinary existence, becomes obsessed with returning to a city he glimpsed once in childhood dreams, a city of onyx and sunset, a place called Kadath, where the gods themselves were said to dwell. The dreamlands Lovecraft described were intoxicating, impossible architecture spiraling toward alien stars, enchanted forests where cats hold parliament, markets selling memories and moonbeams. It was everything the waking world was not fantastical, meaningful, escapable. But here's the twist. Lovecraft smuggled into his fantasy the question that should unsettle you. What if your dreams are just another prison? What if the door marked exit leads only to a more beautiful cell? What if the escape itself is the trap? Tonight, we're going to explore how Lovecraft's DreamQuest cycle serves as a haunting prophecy for our age of infinite digital escapes, and why the French philosopher Jean Baudrillard might argue that we are all, right now, prisoners of our own constructed dreamlands, and most of us don't even know we're asleep. Let's start with the man who built the cage. Howard Phillips Lovecraft was born in 1890 into a world he never quite fit into. A sickly, isolated child, he retreated early into books antiquarianism and the elaborate dreamscapes his troubled mind conjured each night. He recorded these dreams obsessively, sketching their geographies, cataloging their inhabitants. In his letters, he once wrote, "I am Providence," a telling slip. His identity wasn't just from a place. It was fused with a mythologized, half-imagined version of the past that never quite existed. Lovecraft wasn't writing about escapism. He was an escapist. And in 1927, he wrote The Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath, a novel that reads like a fevered travelogue through the unconscious. The plot: Randolph Carter, denied visions of a beautiful sunset city by the gods, descends into the dreamlands to demand answers. He journeys through impossible realms, faces monsters, bargains with ghouls, and seeks the gods on their throne atop the mountain, Kadath. But the ending we'll return to this contains a revelation that transforms the entire work from fantasy into warning. Now, let's talk about maps. Jean Baudrillard, the French philosopher who died in 2007, was obsessed with a particular kind of live, the map that becomes more important than the territory. He called these lies simulacra, copies without originals. Images that don't reflect reality so much as replace it. Baudrillard traced a progression. First, the image reflects reality, a faithful map. Then, the image masks reality it distorts, lies a little. Third, the image masks the absence of reality, it pretends there's something there when there isn't. And finally, the image has no relation to reality whatsoever. It is pure simulation, a world unto itself. His most chilling observation: the simulacrum is never that which conceals the truth, is the truth which conceals that there is none. Do you see the connection? Lovecraft's Dreamlands are a perfect simulacrum, a world that feels more vivid, more meaningful, more real than the waking world, precisely because it is constructed to satisfy every psychological hunger reality cannot fill. It is not a reflection of something true. It is a replacement for the unbearable absence of guaranteed meaning. This is not merely fantasy literature. It is a warning encoded in narrative. The more vivid the dream, the more invisible the cage. So why are we so susceptible? Why do human beings, across cultures and centuries, persistently prefer beautiful lies to ugly truths? The answer is written in our neurology. Your brain doesn't fully distinguish between real and vividly imagined experiences. Both activate the same reward pathways, release the same dopamine. When Randolph Carter walks through the enchanted wood, his neurons fire as though he's actually there. When you lose yourself in a story, a game, feed your brain rewards you as though you've actually accomplished something, connected with someone, discovered meaning. This creates a dangerous asymmetry. Reality is hard. It resists you. It says no. It is indifferent to your needs, your narrative, your desperate wish for the universe to mean something. Fantasy is easy. It says yes. It bends to you. The brain, seeking efficiency, learns to prefer the simulation. But there's something deeper at work, something existential. Terror management theory, developed by social psychologists in the 1980s, proposes that humans are unique in being aware of our own mortality. This awareness creates a constant, low-grade existential terror humming beneath every moment of consciousness. We manage this terror through symbolic immortality systems, cultures, religions, art, legacies, narratives that tell us we matter beyond our brief, fragile existence. Fantasy and escapism offer an even more potent buffer. In the Dreamlands, you do not devour. If you do, it's meaningful, heroic, part of a story. The absurd indifference of the universe is replaced by coherent quests, answerable questions, gods who notice you. Randolph Carter's obsessive search for Kadath isn't just about beauty. It's about fleeing the horror of a reality that doesn't care whether he exists. Consider also the paradox of choice. The psychologist Barry Schwartz demonstrated that too many options create paralysis and profound dissatisfaction. Modern life offers overwhelming freedom, but no instruction manual. The Dreamlands and all simulacra offer the opposite. A structured world with clear purpose. Dostoevsky understood this. And in The Brothers Karamazov, the Grand Inquisitor says to Christ, "Man is tormented by no greater anxiety than to find someone quickly to whom he can hand over that gift of freedom." We are terrified of freedom. The dream offers servitude dressed as adventure. And here's where Baudrillard's concept of hyperreality becomes crucial. As simulacra become more sophisticated, they begin to feel more real than reality itself. The map becomes more detailed than the territory, the menu more appetizing than the meal, the feed more engaging than the world outside your window. In this condition, the distinction between real and simulation doesn't just blur, it collapses entirely. We stop wanting to return. The dreamer no longer recognizes the waking world as home. In Lovecraft's stories, many dreamers choose to stay in the Dreamlands forever, abandoning their waking bodies, which wither and die unattended in locked rooms. Do you see the trap now? Escapism begins as relief. It becomes dependency. The fantasy doesn't heal the wound of existence, it merely numbs it while the wound festers untreated. The prison is comfortable, beautiful even, but is still a prison. Let's be clear. Lovecraft's Dreamlands are no longer a metaphor. We have built Kadath. We live inside it. Your social media feed is a curated unreality. You present an idealized self. You consume idealized others. You mistake the performance for substance. The algorithm learns what you want to see, not what is true, and builds an ever more tailored simulation around you. A private dreamland where every turn confirms what you already believe. Every scroll delivers a little dopamine kiss. Baudrillard warned us, we live in a world where there is more and more information and less meaning. Or consider video games and virtual worlds. Billions of hours spent annually in constructed realities with clear goals, measurable progress, guaranteed meaning. Studies show players increasingly preferring game worlds to waking life, experiencing game accomplishments as more real than real-world achievements. The explicit goal of VR technology is to replace reality with something better. Better for whom? Better how? Then there are parasocial relationships, one-sided emotional bonds with streamers, influencers, fictional characters. These relationships offer all the rewards of connection without the vulnerability, the friction, the messy demands of real intimacy. You can love someone who will never disappoint you, never challenge you, never see you clearly enough to reject you. We are becoming like Lovecraft's dreamers who no longer need the waking world's inhabitants. Even our politics have become dreamlands. Increasingly, people construct entire worldviews that function as psychic simulations, internally coherent, emotionally satisfying, utterly resistant to contradictory evidence. Post-truth is not a failure of information, it's a Baudrillardian condition. It no longer matters what is real, only what feels true within the simulation. The political landscape becomes a war between competing unrealities, each army fighting for the right to dream uninterrupted. And what happens to the body? Loneliness, depression, anxiety, all rising, especially among those most digitally immersed. The body, like the sleeping dreamers in Lovecraft's tales, is neglected. Physical health declines, embodied relationships atrophy, tangible skills rust. We are present in the simulation and absent from our lives. Here's the devastating parallel. Randolph Carter, at the end of his quest, discovers that the sunset city he sought was never in the Dreamlands at all. The gods had been showing him his own past, his childhood home in New England, his grandfather's house, the reality he fled. What he wanted was always behind him, in the real, the embodied, the flawed, and finite. But unlike Carter, we may not have a trickster god to send us home with a warning. We may simply forget what home looks like. So how does the dream quest end? Randolph Carter, standing before the throne of the gods at Kadath, learns the truth. The Onyx City, the sunset paradise, it was a vision of his own childhood, his own waking past, distorted by nostalgia and longing. The gods had been trying to show him what was real, what mattered, what he'd abandoned in his obsessive flight into fantasy. Carter chooses to return. He wakes. But Lovecraft, who understood his own addiction better than most, left the story open. Carter wakes, but the Dreamlands remain. They will always be there, seductive, vivid, waiting. And the next time reality disappoints, the next time existence feels unbearably indifferent, he will remember the enchanted wood, the onyx towers, the place where everything meant something. Will he resist, or will he close his eyes and go back? Baudrillard offered no escape from hyperreality. He only diagnosed the condition, mapping a territory that was already disappearing beneath the map. Perhaps the only resistance is awareness recognizing the simulation as simulation, even while standing inside it. Refusing to forget that there is a difference, even when that difference becomes harder to feel. The answer is not to abandon imagination, art, or fantasy. These are human necessities. We dream because we must. But we must refuse to let the dream replace the real. Use it as a window, not a home. As a respite, not a retreat. As a mirror to understand reality, not a curtain to hide it. The dream that knows it is a dream cannot fully imprison you. But here's the question I want to leave with you, not as philosophy, but as something immediate, personal, unavoidable. When you turn off this video and the algorithm offers you another dream and another and another, when the real world outside your window feels duller, harder, less welcoming than the glow of the screen, when the weight of your actual life presses down and the escape is just a click away, will you remember that the city you re-seeking might already be behind you? And if you do remember, will it be enough to make you stay awake?